You made it all the way to Tokyo, you've got your tickets to Disneyseas, you feel like you're ready, but there's a few things that could still make your experience a little bit worse than it has to be. So why not do those and make sure that you have the best experience possible? I've been to Disneyseas a number of times over the last couple years, and in this video I'm going to go over some tips and tricks that I've learned, some things that I didn't do that I wish I did, and what you need to do to have the best experience possible. And if there's one thing that you absolutely must do, it's download the app. So basically, there's a Disney app, and you can use that to do a whole ton of different things. You can see the line wait times, you can see a map of the park, you can see when parades and shows are going to happen, and you can book things like entry into Fantasia, or use it for something like priority access. And I know I just dumped a whole ton of information, and we are going to come back to that, but one thing that we have to cover is if you download the app, how are you going to use the app? You need a way to connect to the internet, and Disneyseas does have free Wi-Fi. But the Wi-Fi is very spotty, it's not that reliable, and my recommendation would be to get an eSIM. If I had a sponsor, this is where I talk about them, but I don't. There's a ton of different eSIM providers, they're all pretty good, so just make sure that you have an eSIM when you go to Disneyseas, and you should be A-okay. Now, let's circle back to the app and talk about what you can do with the app. So first off, with the app, you can use it to book access or standby access to different parts of the park. So the first time we went to Disneyseas back in, I think it was 2024, Fantasy Springs was just opening. Everybody wanted to go, there were huge lines, and people were worried about getting access to Fantasy Springs. A lot of the time they'd open the door and people would start sprinting. They'd run as fast as they could to get to Fantasy Springs so they could get in. You don't need to do that. What you can do, when the park opens, when you get inside of the park, the app's geo-fenced. So if you're outside of the park, you can't really book things. But once you get inside the park, you set foot inside the park, pull out your phone, book access to whatever the hot new thing is. And while you're at it, you should also book access to restaurants. The first time we went, we didn't book access to any restaurants. We thought we could just rock up and get in. Well, it doesn't work that way. Even if you're going in an off time, people want to eat, and a lot of people want to try the food at Disneyseas. So they book all the restaurants ahead of time when they just get in, and I think some people actually book way ahead of time before they even enter the park. So my recommendation is when you first get into the park, book your restaurant. That way you know it's secure, you know when you're going to eat, and you can plan around it. The other thing to pay attention to with the app is priority access. Priority access is free, so there's nothing special that you need to do to use priority access at Disneyseas. And that's why I would say make sure you use priority access. A lot of people don't know it exists, and they end up waiting in a line that they don't have to wait in. Also, if you've got children, there's something called the child switch, and you can use the app to do this. The way it works is if you've got a child, one person can wait in line, and the other person can take the child around and make sure the child isn't completely bored out of their mind. When the person gets to the front of the line, they do the ride like they normally would. Then they do a child switch, which means the other parent gets to go on the ride without waiting in line. It's a really cool system because you still have to wait in line, so it's not like you're getting any sort of cheat codes, but at the same time, your child doesn't have to be bored out of their mind, and if you've got a crying child or baby, then all the people in the line don't need to sit there listening to it. So it's a great system for everybody. I really loved it. I thought this was sort of like a revolutionary thing. It turns out it's pretty normal in theme parks, but just in case you didn't know, it's a thing and you need the app to do it. Another thing that you should know about is what time the park opens. It can open very early. I think we got in once at 8:10. Online it says the park opens at 9, but this isn't true. So my recommendation, arrive around 8. You're going to be at the front of the line if you arrive this early. If you arrive at like 7:30, you're going to be at the very front probably, unless there's something crazy going on. And then you can get into the park a little bit early, and you can again use that app to make those reservations. This guarantees that you're going to get access to all of the things that you want, and since you're early, there's at least one line that you're probably going to be in the front of at the very beginning of the day. So that's always a nice way to start off the day. Now, while we're talking about lines, let's talk about the sun. Because the sun in Tokyo can be intense, especially in summer, so make sure you prepare for that. A lot of the lines, until you're about 30 minutes away from the front, you will be exposed to the sun. You're out there in the middle of the sun, no cover, no shade, so prepare for that. What I'd recommend, sunscreens, water, bring an umbrella, bring fans, bring a cooling spray. Japan has a ton of cool technology for keeping cool. So if you get a chance, go to a store just before you go to Disneyseas, and buy all that cool cooling stuff. You can get fans, sprays, all sorts of crazy stuff. Use those and try to keep yourself as cool as possible because it can get really intense in Tokyo, especially in the summer. And if it rains and you have a baby stroller, also do note that a lot of the time you will be storing that stroller outside. So if it's raining, you want to make sure you bring a cover for the stroller. Otherwise, After the first ride, that stroller is going to be soaked, unusable, and it might even potentially get moldy. And now let's talk about food and water, because we just covered how hot it can be. You want to stay hydrated. One of the nice things about these parks is you can refill bottles inside of the park. So if you bring an empty water bottle, you can bring it inside of the park. You can fill it up all over the place. It's completely free, and then you've got a free source of water for the day. Even better, if you have kids, you can bring food and drinks for the kids. So if you want to pack some tasty snacks that you can't get inside of the park, you can do that for your kids, which is pretty cool. For the adults, the outlook is a little more bleak, but there's still some good news. You can bring in that water bottle, you can get free water, and in addition to that, the prices actually aren't that bad on the food. Overall, in Japan, they don't really seem to upcharge that much, whether you're in Disneyland, Disneyseas, Universal Studios, or the airport. Prices are pretty universal throughout the whole country, which is really amazing. It's something I wasn't used to, but I'm definitely not going to complain about that. And while as an adult you can't bring food in, one thing I'd recommend bringing in is a battery pack. You're going to be taking pictures. It's an amazing place. I was taking tons of pictures, tons of videos, as you can tell by this video, but I ran out of battery. So one thing I wish I brought is a battery pack. The second time I went, I brought the battery pack, and it was great. And finally, let's wrap it up by talking about princesses and shows. First off, when it comes to princesses, meeting princesses in Disneyseas, a big thing to note is that it's all random. You can't really know where they're going to appear or what time they're going to appear. So when we took our kids there, my daughter really wanted to see all the princesses, and it was sort of like we just have to keep an eye out. When one appeared, we'd go over, we'd introduce her, and we'd try our best to get a photo. It doesn't always happen. They do have handlers. There's some strict time limits, especially when it gets too hot. But if you keep your eye out, you will be able to see some princesses. They tend to show up in the sections that are themed for them. So Fantasy Springs, you're going to have some. You're going to have some around Arabia. There's going to be none around that New England themed area because the main character there is a shark, not a princess. And while we're talking about princesses and Jaws, I do want to give one word of warning. You won't be able to read all of the signs and tell what all of the rides are. So if you're just relying on height requirements to determine if a ride is good for your kids to go on, don't. In Japan, people are a little bit shorter. It's just a fact. You're going to notice it when you go there, but people are a little bit shorter. And what this means is the kids are a little bit shorter. So sometimes a ride that a kid who's 7 might be able to go on, it might not be appropriate for a child who's 3, but if your child's a little bit taller for their age, they'll be exceptionally tall for Japan, which means they might get into rides that they're not supposed to, or that they probably shouldn't go on. Our daughter, we took her on the Jaws boat ride. We thought it was going to be a nice boat ride, and it turned out that you've got sharks and shotguns going off. Probably not the best thing to take them on, so just pay attention. If you make sure you're aware of what the rides are. And to be 100% clear, that is all on us. I'm not trying to blame the theme park or anyone other than us, the parents. But it is worth noting that just because a kid can get into a ride or they're at the height limit, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's age appropriate. It's still safe and everything like that. And in the case of Jaws, our kids were actually not able to speak Japanese because we don't speak Japanese, so they don't really understand what was going on. So it was all okay, but a word of warning there. And to end things, I want to give one more word of warning, and this is about the parades. So I don't know if this is a Disney thing or a Japanese Disney thing or what, but there's this really cool, really awesome parade that you can buy tickets to. We bought tickets to the parade, but we didn't know that the seating sections are actually on the ground. So we bought tickets to this nice parade. We were able to sit right up front. It was really cool, but we did have to sit on the ground. We got a little dirty. It's not the end of the world, but if you do plan to buy tickets to see the parade, probably bring a blanket with you. It's going to make things a whole lot easier, so why not? And one other thing that is worth mentioning that I just remembered, if you're going to buy souvenirs, or if you plan to buy souvenirs, and you don't really care about the age, or you want to buy souvenirs like a popcorn bucket to bring into Disneyseas, that's a whole thing. You're going to notice it when you go. I'm not going to spoil it. But basically, there's these popcorn buckets. You can buy one at the park. They're all going to be themed. Every year, the theme changes, which is really cool. And some people keep their buckets for years or even decades. And they'll bring it every time they go to Disneyseas. They'll stand out. It'll be something a little special. Look into what those buckets are. And then if you have a day or two before you actually go to the park, and this is true of Disney, Disneyseas, Universal, whatever, right? Before you go to the park, you should go to something called Book Off. It's a secondhand store, and what they do is they'll sell all sorts of secondhand goods. In Japan, people usually take really good care of their things, so you can actually find some really old popcorn buckets. I'm talking like 10, 20 years old. For instance, at this store, I'm not that young, right? I was seeing toys from my childhood in their original packaging. It didn't even have sun damage or anything like that. I was looking at these things and saying, oh my god, they made replicas. They weren't replicas. So to circle back, if you're looking for souvenirs, if you're looking for ornaments, if you're looking for popcorn buckets or anything themed towards the park that you're going to, sometimes it makes sense to go to Book Off. You can get things 60, 70, or even 90% off there. And if you go to Disneyseas, they're going to be almost in exactly the same condition. The only difference is those are going to be from this year, whereas these items are going to be older. But sometimes that works to your advantage. It really depends what the theme is, what they're selling, and everything like that. So I would recommend looking into what's going to be sold this year, whichever year you're going to Disneyseas, and then going to Book Off and seeing if there's something better, maybe buying it there at a discount. It's a great place to get souvenirs. It's a great place to get stuff for you to bring home to remember the experience, and it's a really cool experience just going to a Book Off. So I'm going to end the video by recommending that. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy your trip.